Here's another poisonous plant, the cashew. So when you think of cashews, you likely think of the nuts, and unless you're allergic to them, like many people are, the actual nuts are not what are the poisonous parts. This is how the cashew naturally grows. This fruity part up there is called the cashew apple, and this down there is the actual cashew nut. And the actual poisonous part comes from the shell around the actual nut. Now, the cashew nut shell actually contains a thing called urushiol, which is not its own compound. It's actually a mix of a bunch of different organic compounds containing the stuff that causes the reaction. And in order to ensure that all of the urushiol is completely dealt with so people don't get irritation and reactions from consuming the cashews have to be actually roasted prior to being sold just to make sure all of the toxic stuff is gone. So technically, even if you're getting raw cashews, they've almost definitely been roasted at least once just to make sure that all of the stuff from the shells is gone and nobody will react to it. Now, the urushiol is not very toxic, again, unless you're allergic. Mostly it just causes a rash and burning sensation and just skin irritation, similar to poison ivy or poison oak. So unless you are allergic, it's not deadly, it's just unpleasant. Most of it comes through like a burning or stinging sensation accompanied with a kind of, depends on how much, but it can be a severe rash, including like redness, itchiness, and bumps and all that. So while not nearly as deadly or even painful as some of the other poisonous plants I've talked about on here, cashews are still technically poisonous and can have adverse effects. Now, something else interesting, this is a cardinal. It's a class of plant lipids that are found largely in the cashew nut shells, and while these are not toxic themselves, they're not contributing to the kind of irritation caused by cashew nut shells, they are used in other things. They're produced as a byproduct of the processing of the cashews. So when the nuts are being processed and getting everything ready to be sold, one of the products produced in that processing is these cardinals, and they're actually used in many things such as resins or as some of the main stuff used in producing bakelite, which is this like plastic stuff that was very common a while ago. It's kind of fallen out of fashion now, but it was very used whoa, that's not how words work. It was used very commonly a while ago in plastic production. Cardinals do have other uses in other resins and plastic-like products, but I just think that's interesting that it was used in the production of bakelite, which was one of the first types of plastics ever produced.